Weird Morbid Facts You Probably Didn't Know, Part 1. The seventh time that Park Ranger Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning coincided with the 22nd time he fought off a bear with a stick. Chandre Oram, an Indian tea estate worker, is famous for having a 13 inches long tail, which has made him an object of devotion to many who believe him to be an incarnation of Hanuman, a Hindu deity associated with monkeys. A man named Michel Lotito, in his lifetime, dissembled and consumed, among other things, 18 bicycles, 15 shopping carts, 7 TVs, and 1 Cessna aircraft. He was awarded a brass plaque by the Guinness Book of Records, which he also ate. Weird Morbid Facts You Probably Didn't Know, Part 2. Andrew Kasongo Ilunga was the rising star of Congolese politics in 2006. Just 34, he had risen from obscurity to be appointed Minister for Foreign Trade in Congo's first democratic government, despite being completely fictional. There are 328 human people named ABCD in the United States. In 1979, a stadium hosted Disco Demolition Night. The cost was 99 cents if you brought a disco record. 50,000 people showed up to see them blow up the records in between games. Thousands rushed the field in a frenzy. This is referred to as the night disco died and is linked to the decline of the genre. Weird Morbid Facts You Probably Didn't Know, Part 3. Virgin boy eggs is a traditional springtime dish from Dongyang, China, in which eggs are boiled in the urine of young peasant boys, preferably under the age of 10. The eggs have been listed by officials in China as a part of the region's local intangible cultural heritage. Charles Domery was an 18th century soldier known for his immense appetite. During his service, he ate dozens of live cats, pounds of raw meat and grass, and once tried to eat a companion's severed leg before it was wrestled from him. A conservative think tank compiled a list of 700 scientists who publicly rejected evolution in favor of creationism. In response, the NCSE launched Project Steve and found 1,250 scientists named Steve who supported evolution. Weird Morbid Facts You Probably Didn't Know, Part 4. David Johnson, aka world-famous Bushman, is a busker who scares passers-by along Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. He has been active since 1980. When people approach, he shakes the bush towards the unsuspecting tourists and startles them, sometimes making gruff ooga-booga noises. In 1848, Phineas Gage, a railroad foreman, had a tamping iron, which was 43 inches long and weighed 13 pounds, shoot through his skull. He survived, but Gage's friends later remarked he was no longer Gage. He could not stick to plans, uttered the grossest profanity, and showed little deference for his fellows. Weird Morbid Facts You Probably Didn't Know, Part 5. There has only been one confirmed case of a person being hit by a meteor. Anne Hodges was napping on the couch when the rock broke through her ceiling, bounced off her radio, and bruised her upper thigh. The Sylacauga meteorite fell on her on November 30th, 1954. Hoover was a talking harbor seal who mimicked human speech. After being orphaned as a pup, Hoover was rescued by George Swallow, who raised the seal in his backyard. Over time, Hoover taught himself phrases like, "Hello there," and "Come over here," in a thick New England accent. Weird Morbid Facts You Probably Didn't Know, Part 6. In one of the only confirmed cases of homicidal sleepwalking, a man drove himself to his in-laws, bludgeoned the woman, and strangled the man, and drove off while asleep. He turned himself over to the police and was eventually acquitted of murder. The Jumping Frenchmen of Maine were a group of lumberjacks in the 19th century who suffered a rare disorder which caused them to startle extremely easily, often described as an uncontrollable leap. Some affected individuals exhibited automatic or forced obedience after a startle response, during which they automatically respond to simple commands such as jump, run, or hit. Weird Morbid Facts You Probably Didn't Know, Part 8. The Sedlec ossuary in the Czech Republic, known as the Room of Skulls, contains thousands of human bones arranged into chandeliers, crosses, and wall decorations. Built after the Black Death, it serves as a haunting reminder of mortality, drawing tourists with its macabre artistry. Under Peter the Great, Russian wives faced brutal punishments like branding for disobedience, reflecting the era's harsh gender norms despite his modernizing efforts. Weird, morbid facts you probably didn't know. Part 9. The victims of Pompeii, preserved in ash from Mount Vesuvius's 79 AD eruption, remain frozen in their final moments, offering a glimpse into history. Archaeologists filled ash voids with plaster to recreate their forms. During the Irish potato famine of the 1840s, over 1 million died from starvation and disease, while British policies prioritized exports over relief, worsening the tragedy. These events remind us of resilience and the impact of human decisions. Weird, morbid facts you probably didn't know. Part 10. During World War II, Japan's Unit 731 conducted gruesome experiments on prisoners. Diseases were deliberately spread, offing tens of thousands. Shockingly, some members received immunity for sharing their research. The Dyatlov Pass incident of 1959 remains a chilling mystery. 9 hikers passed away under bizarre circumstances, missing various parts and having various injuries, fueling theories of avalanches, hypothermia, or even aliens. Weird, morbid facts you probably didn't know. Part 11. In the Victorian era, families took photos of their deceased loved ones, posing them as if they were alive, in a practice called post-mortem photography. The human body releases gases during decomposition, sometimes causing corpses to sit up or make sounds, startling inexperienced morticians. A man named Karl Tanzler kept the mummified body of a woman he loved in his home for 7 years before being discovered. Weird, morbid facts you probably didn't know. Part 12. The ancient Aztecs believed real sacrifice was necessary to keep the sun rising each day. They offered thousands up to their gods. The average person consumes about 70,000 microplastic particles each year through food, water, and air. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 800,000 people pass by self-deletion every year. Nuclear power plants carry the risk of meltdowns and radioactive contamination. The Earth is overdue for a large-scale asteroid impact that could have catastrophic consequences.